Hello class 10 students and welcome to social science class. Today we will be discussing about the manufacturing industries, that is your chapter 8, okay? So chapter 8, manufacturing industries. So if you are ready with your book, let's go into it, okay? Now, before we go into the industries, because here in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the different types of industries that we find in India. Okay, here also we are going to focus mainly on India. Okay, but before we go into those various industries or the different industries, first, let's discuss a little bit on manufacturing, or what do we mean by manufacturing industries, okay? Or what are the importance of having a manufacturing industries in the country, okay? So when we talk about manufacturing, now as you all know, okay, manufacturing is the process of producing goods in large quantity through machines, okay? Okay. So manufacturing is the process of producing goods in large quantity by using machine. So that is called as manufacturing, okay? Now, when we talk about manufacturing industries, it is very, very important, especially for a country like India, okay? In India, manufacturing industries is considered very, very important because, okay, this if the point is, okay, if the country has lots of manufacturing industries, or if the country has lots of industries, this is how we assess the economy of a country, okay? So the more industries a country has, okay, the more economy it will be having. That means they will be having more economy. It will be producing more, okay? So that is what we meant by the importance. So it assesses the economic strength of a country, plus on top of that, okay, if you have lots of manufacturing industries, it also gives employment, okay? There is employment opportunity for the people. So that is also one reason why manufacturing industries is very, very important for a country, okay? Then it also employed, okay, that is the manufacturing industries, it also gives employment to the secondary and the tertiary activities, or the tertiary sector, okay? Secondary and tertiary, we have already discussed this in the previous classes. Secondary means we are talking about those people who are involved, okay, who are involved or who are working in the industries. Then when we come to tertiary, okay, tertiary sectors means we are talking about those people who are working in the, it can be to do with the transportation, communication, banking, and so on, okay? So this manufacturing industries, it also gives employment to these two sectors. So this is also another reason why it is very important, okay? Then another point will be manufacturing industries, okay? It gives the opportunity to the Indians or to the country to utilize its resources, okay? If a country has manufacturing industries, then it gives opportunity to the country to use or to utilize their resources. So that is also another important, okay? Then when we come to manufacturing industries, okay? Now manufacturing industries, it is closely related to agrarian or agriculture. They complement one another, or in other words, simple words, okay? They depend on one another, okay? Because manufacturing or industries means we are talking about manufacturing goods, and to manufacture the goods they need raw materials, okay? And these raw materials, it can be provided only in or by the agriculturists. And then we have also discussed that India is an agricultural country, and 2/3 of its population, they are engaged in agriculture, isn't it? So all these makes India or makes the manufacturing industries very, very important for India, okay? And for the Indian government, that is utilizing all these resources, now in the present day, India is also at par with the global world, okay? She is also at par, that means at equal with the global world. But then another point is, okay, in order to be at par with the global world, okay, at par means equal, or to be a part of the global world means we are talking about where the Indians industries, they are also able to sell their goods at the international level. Okay, so that is what we meant by global level. So here the most important point is they should make sure, okay, that is the Indian manufacturing industries, they should also make sure that their goods are of the best quality. Okay, that is, they have the quality that is needed at the global level. Then only they will be able to compete with the other countries or be able to compete with the world. Okay, so all this shows that manufacturing industries is very, very important for a country. Okay, then here, as I've said before, we are focusing mainly on India. Okay, so that is to do with the importance of manufacturing industries. Okay, now let's go into the other topic, that is location of industries. Where do we find the industries, or where are industries supposed to be located? Okay, now when you come to this location, this we can say the factors. Okay, these factors, it depends on, the first one is to do with the availability of raw materials. That means industries should be set up where they can get raw material easily. Okay, where they can get raw material easily. Later on, we are going to discuss about the sugar industries. And here, one defect of the sugar industries is the industries, they need to be at, so to say, at close range or near the sugarcane field, because when transporting, okay, when transportation is being taking place regarding the sugarcane, what happened is the sugarcane, they loses their sucroses, and this greatly affect the quality of the sugar. Okay, so this is why the first factor is the industries should be set up where they can get the raw material easily. Okay, then another factor would be it should also be at a place where they can get enough labor. Because when we talk about industries, okay, industries also, later on we are going to discuss about that. We have different types of industry, big scale industries or small scale, or it can be to do with this thing, heavy industries or light industries and so on. Okay, and so depending on the different types of industries, it also depend on the labor, that is the workers. Okay, so the industries, the big industries, they need lots of workers, that is labors. And so the best solution will be the industries should always be set up at a place where they can get more labor. Okay, where labor is available again. So that is also another factor that determines the location of industries. Okay, then another one will be to do with capital. Okay, now when we say capital, we are not talking about the capital of a country or the capital of a state. Okay, here capital means we are talking about the money that you need in order to start something. That is called as the capital. Okay, for example, you want to start a sweet shop, okay, a small sweet shop. So the first thing you need to do is you need to have money, right? Because in order to open your shop, first thing is you need to stock up your shop with sweets, and to buy those sweets you need the money. So that money is called as the capital. Okay, so capital is also another factor of industry's location. Okay, then another factor will be the market. Okay, whether they can get access to market or not, because after producing goods they have to sell it in the market, isn't it? So the next topic, the factor will be regarding market. Okay, whether they are able to avail the market or not. So here the factors that are affecting the location of industry is, the first one is to do with the raw material. Okay, where raw material can easily be available to them. Then we have, secondly, we have labor. Then we have this market. Okay, then capital. Okay, so all these are the factors that affect the location of an industries. Okay, so basing on this, looking on this, what they do is they try to set up industries basing on all these factors. Okay, then another point I want you to keep in mind is industrialization. Okay, industrialization and urbanization they go hand in hand. That means they go together. Now, why we say they go hand in hand, or why we say they go together, is because whenever an industry is set up, okay, whenever an industry is set up, as we have discussed, they will be needing lots of laborers, many workers will be needed. So those workers, what will happen is they will be going and settle down there near the industries, isn't it? They will be settling down there near the industries. And then after settling down there, they again need all those, that is, we have to look after our wants and needs. That is to do with the shop, okay? It can be to do with the market or the banking, all those things. So all those again will have to be there. So this is how industrialization and urbanization, they go hand in hand. Because as I've said, whenever an industry is set up, urbanization is sure to follow, okay, because of the people, that is the workers. So this is the reason why we say industrialization and urbanization, they go hand in hand, okay. Now let's go into the different types of industries that we find in India, okay. Now looking at these industries, it has been categorized basing on, some will be on their raw materials, okay, what type of raw materials they need. So it will be based on that. And another one will be, it will be based on ownership also. Then another factor will be, it will be based on whether it is a heavy industry or light industry, okay. Light industry, I'm not talking about the brightness, but here we are talking about the weight, whether it is heavy or light, okay. So we are talking about the weight, okay. So the first thing will be, we have this the heavy industries, okay. Now when we say heavy industries, we are talking about those industries which are producing, okay, first you turn to page 106, okay, you turn to page 106. So here, heavy industries. So heavy industries means we are talking about those industries who build, okay. It can be to do with this iron and steel industries, okay, because iron and steel industries, for example, what they build is, they go in for the building of ship and so on. And when we talk about ship, automatically we know it will be very heavy, isn't it? So that is one good example of heavy industry, okay, because in your textbook it's written, for example, iron and steel, shipbuilding, both the raw materials and the finished products are heavy. So that is why it is called as the heavy industry, okay. Then coming to the light industry. Light industry, here again, this is to do with light good. That is, in your textbook they have given an example of electrical industries, sewing machine, etc., which are light, okay, not heavy. And so those industries are called as the light industries, okay. So that is to do with heavy industry and light industry. Then the next one will be to do with basing on the raw material, okay. What type of raw materials the industry needs in order to produce the goods. So the second category is based on the raw material, okay. So here regarding the raw material, the first one is, we call it as the agro base, okay, the agro base. So agro base means, agro means something to do with agriculture, right? So here when we say agro base, we are talking about those industries who needs the raw materials from agriculture, okay. They need raw materials from agriculture, and here they have given an example of rubber, sugar, cotton, edible oil, coffee, tea, etc., okay. So those are called as the agro-based industries, okay. Then the next one is to do with mineral based, okay, mineral based. Here mineral based means we are talking about those industries who needs the raw material, okay, like iron and steel, or to do with this petroleum, chemical, aluminium, and so on. So those are called as mineral based industries, okay. Then we also have a different type of industries based on capital investment, okay, capital investment. That means how much money they need in order to set up that industry. So the first one is, we have Large scale. So large scale industries means we are talking about those industries who invest lots of money, okay, crores and crores of money in order to set up that industry. So those are called as large scale industry. Then the next one, the opposite one is we call it as the small scale. Now, small scale, or it can also be called as the cottage industry, okay? And here we are talking about those industries who needs only a little amount of money, so to say. Because when we talk about cottage industry or small scale industries, it can also this thing, like for example, nursery. Nursery means nowadays in Nagaland, many people they go for this, isn't it? Nursery here we are talking about flower, okay? Rearing of flower or horticulture or floriculture. So all these are under the category of small scale industry. And here they don't invest that much amount of money. And that is why they are called as the small scale industry, okay? Then the next one is to do with ownership. Now, again, industries are divided into different parts basing on ownership, okay? So here, the first one is, we call it as public, okay? Or public, or it can be called as the public sector. Now here, when we say public sector, we are talking about those industries which are owned, okay? Which are owned and operated by the government agencies. So those are called as public sector, okay? Those industries which are owned and operated by the government, okay? Then we have another sector which is called as the private sector, okay? Now private means to do with individual, isn't it? So private sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated by individual, okay? By one person, not the government, but by the people themselves, that is individual. So those are called as private sector, okay? Then the third one is we have joint sector, okay? Joint sector. Now joint sector means these are run by the individual and the government together, okay? Together they run this type of industry. So those industries are called as joint sector, okay? So joint sector means where both the individual and the government, that is the state, together they are operating that industry, okay? Then the fourth one is called as the cooperative sector, okay? So here cooperative sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated by the producer, okay, by the producer or supplier of the raw material. Got it? Cooperative sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated by the producer plus the supplier. Supplier means we are talking about the one who is supplying the raw material. So those are the different sector under ownership. So private sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated by the government. Private sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated by individual, okay? Then we have this joint sector. Joint sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned and operated both by the individual, that is the individual along with the government, together they are looking after this industries, okay? Then the last one, that is cooperative sector. So cooperative sector means we are talking about those industries which are owned by the producer, okay? The producer and the supplier, okay? So those are the different types of industries based on ownership, okay? So in this session, we have discussed about the importance of manufacturing industry, why it is very important. Then we have also discussed about the different types of industries which is based on some on the raw material, isn't it? And basing on raw material, we have discussed about the agro-based industries and the mineral-based industries. Then we have also discussed about another type of industries which is based on capital, that is the large scale and the small scale. Large scale means where they invest lots of money. Small scale means less money, isn't it? Then we have also discussed about the heavy industry and the light industry, isn't it? Then we have also discussed about the different types of sector under the ownership. So I hope you have understood that far, okay? In the next class, we will be discussing about again the different types of industries which are there in India under the agro base and mineral base. So please make sure you join me again. So thank you for tuning in and stay safe.